Hi everybody, welcome back. Yesterday was a fun day, flew the drone around lots and lots and lots, and came back in through the window into my office and crashed. Drone's absolutely fine, and what I crashed it into, not so much. Unfortunately, I did crash it into this M6 DAC. Smashed the screen and it's dead. So I immediately got on the website to HobbyRC and I ordered a replacement. And that replacement I ordered was wrong because it was DC only. So Mike very kindly cancelled my order. And I put in another order for a SkyRC T1000 1000 watt AC DC charger. That's turned up today. So guess what we're doing in a moment? Okay, so what actually happened? Well, some part of the drone, you can't even see it, there's a little tiny, there you go, just a little tiny dent there. The screen on this is plastic, so it's just smashed the screen, gone. ToolkitRC do keep these in stock though, the screens, and they're sending out another one. It's going to take 4 weeks, so I did need something to kind of fill the gap. Now hopefully you've got this camera here. Hello. So what we're going to do is put this in front of that camera. I'm going to talk to you and you're going to look through here. If it works, I'll be amazed. Box is a single layer cardboard. It's got a smooth outer. I'm not great at unboxing videos. It says it comes with a UK plug, master charger compatible, so there's software for it. You can get the BD350 discharger and battery analyze software. I've got the software installed, and you can buy the separate BD350 for doing, I think it's 40 amp discharge, so that's kind of cool. It means you can test all of your batteries for health and analyze all of them cell by cell. Let's get this opened up. We've got a manual. There we are. SkyRC manual. I'm sure that's highly important. We have the unit and a UK plug. What I'm going to do is I'm going to disappear and plug this plug in to my UPS. And we should be able to power it up here as well. Let me just disappear down here for a second.
One eternity later.
That's plugged in now. I find when you try and plug something in, it's advisable to take out a little bit of plastic. Otherwise you look like a fool. Right, out the plastic bag. Let's switch to this camera. Let's just stick on this camera, shall we? Hello. There's the unit. We've still got the film on there. Now, first impressions are it's very heavy. I mean, not mega heavy, but there's a lot of weight to it, and I can see an aluminium cooler inside, a heatsink, big heatsink. Lots of Captain tape covering some coils. Lots of stuff. You can hear my cat meowing in the background. He's 19, and he's hungry apparently. There is an external discharger port on the side, and there is a DC in 10 to 30 volt on the back, along with a USB-C and a 3-pin standard ISO kettle lead. 450 watt AC is what it says, so presumably it's 1000 watts on DC. There's some temperature plugs at the front, so temperature sensor plugs. 2 of those. There's 2 XT60 connectors and 2 up to 6 S balance port leads on there as well. I'm going to power this up and possibly move the camera. Let's move you here. Front row seat. LiPo warning! Never use the charger unsupervised. So I need supervision. That's what that's saying. I think that's what it means. LiPo back, no, but seriously, don't leave this thing doing its stuff all by itself. That would be a bad idea. It's about to make you go ooh la la la, ooh la la la. So we get a warning, get a nice screen come up. Let's just fiddle around with the buttons. Up and down does nothing. Stop does nothing. Oh, okay. We have battery type. Okay, how did I get back? So click start. Okay, we get into a menu. We've got start, battery type, LiPo, 4S battery cell, balance charge, 4.2 volts, cycle 0, charge current. Let's actually set this to, I'm going to charge up this 850. No, we're not. We're going to charge up this little 650 all by itself. So let's go down and set this to 1C or just below 1C. I think that's pretty much it. So we'll plug in the balance port, and then we need XT60, XT30, one of these. Let's plug that in. And it would have been nice if I could get something with an XT30 on it, but ultimately I'm not that fussed. I'd probably run a longer cable than this if I'm charging these continually or consistently, so I could run them in a LiPo charging bag, which is typically what I do. Let's go back up to the start, and we'll hit start, and we're off. Lots of beeping. We've got the cell voltages on the right. Yeah, this looks all right. What do the buttons do if I do this? Okay, so we can see the 22 mega ohms resistance and the voltage. Presume stop's just going to stop, and then we can change ports, and that's that. So I mean, it does things. Apparently there's parallel charging on here as well, where you can plug both of the ports into a single battery if you so desire. I don't think anybody in our hobby of FPV is going to have a battery that big that requires a 40 amp charge, but you know, you never know. What else does this do then? Do I click stop? Okay, so if I were to click stop, it would definitely stop. I run the wrong battery now. Battery A. Oh, so we did stop it. Yeah, what other charges have we got? Let's have a look. Enter balance charge, charge or storage, parallel or discharge. So balance charge is going to be up to 1.5 amps, I believe, on the balance leads, which is loads of power, and then it uses the main cable to monitor the overall voltage of the entire pack, but balances via the balance leads only. I think a charge uses the cable itself here, the main cable to charge, and then it will go into a balanced charge at the end. Storage, pretty self-explanatory, sets it to the storage voltage, so for this it would be 3.8 volts. Discharge, again, you could probably pick the discharge amount where you want it to go to, and parallel uses both of the ports at the front as one, and that's pretty much that. So that's how that would work. What's the back button? Okay, start again. So what else have we got? Battery cell 4S. Do we have to manually select this all the time? I wonder if this is automatically selectable. I'm sure it may well be. I'll have to check that out. And then we've got battery types: LiPo, LiLo, lithium ion, LiHV, high voltage, nickel metal hydride, nickel cadmium, and lead. This can also apparently be used as as a power supply. So you can set this as a power supply at 12 volts at certain amps, and then yeah, just crack on with that, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to set this up now with 4 batteries. I'm going to check the voltage of each of them. In fact, let's do that now. I'm going to go get my balance board. Here it is. So we'll unplug this guy. That is pretty tight in there. Plug this one in. There. We will plug in the first battery. I've got a few of these to charge up. These are 850s. So we'll check the voltages individually. That's what I tend to do to make sure they're all within a reasonable amount of each other. So on there we can see 3.79. So nearest down at 3.8 volts per cell. 3.7-ish, so it's 0.1 of a difference. That's okay. 3.83, that's okay as well. And then we've got one last one, which is 3.78. So they're all within 0.12-ish. They're all certainly under 0.2 of a volt. I think it's safe to have them apparently up to 0.4 of a volt apart, but I tend to get as close to 0.1 as I can, because I think that's just safer. And this balance board has internal fuses and other stuff as well. It's the ISDT safe parallel adapter, so we like that. There's all 4 of them in there, as you can now see. So next up, what I'm going to do is go to the options. So hit start, battery LiPo, 4S, balance charge, and then we'll do 4.2 volts, cycle 0, charge current, be 2.4 amps, actually be more than that, but I'm going to be a bit more conservative on this, so we'll take 1C of each of these. Which 8, 16, 32, 3.2 amps, but I think I'm just going to be conservative here and run this at 2.5 amps, which will be absolutely fine, just to give it a bit of a buffer, and we're off. We're charging them all. So if I zoom you in here, we can now see the voltages, and we can see that it's charging, and we can see it's doing 2.5 amps, and how much it's pumping in at the bottom there, so 10 milliamp hours, and so on. So I guess that's it for now. It's a battery charger. It charges batteries, and it works, and it's fairly easy to use. Even an idiot can use it without reading the instructions. I'm going to plug it into the computer and see if there's a firmware update for it and have a little fettle, but outside of that, I'm sure this thing's brilliant. Big shout out to Hobby RC for getting this out next day again, and this was like 5 minutes to 4 o'clock and it still came next day. So fair play, guys, thanks very much. The next thing to show you then is the software itself, and this is it running on those batteries that I've just set off charging in parallel. So here we can see the cell voltages, and they're all tracking nicely, so we can actually look and see what's going on. Now, there is a battery analyzer section. We're looking at charge on port A. There's also port B. All I did was hit start, and it's saying here that the voltage is 15.25, current 2.47 amps, showing the capacity that's charged and the wattage it's running at. Battery temp is not here because we don't have the temperature sensor plugged in, because it didn't come with one. Not that we really need it. I mean, that is the most important thing though, of course, is to measure the heat of your packs and make sure they're not getting warm. If they're getting warm, unplug it and run, is my best advice. Don't stick it in the water or anything like that. Just put it outside somewhere safe. So if we were to stop this, we'll change this port to the correct setting. So it's 4 cells, balance charge, LiPo. Charge current 1 amp. We're going to go to 2.5 is what we've got it set to. Discharge don't need to worry about. Cycle don't need to worry about. So we'll click OK on that, and we'll click start. That's going to now measure. It started the charger there. It's now going to start to measure what we're sticking in. So here we can see cell 1, 2, 3 and 4. We know it's 4S, balance 2.5 amps and discharge at 0.5 amps. Now we can watch and see what happens to the voltage and amps as we're shoving that in to see the health of all 4 of these batteries. Obviously, if you wanted actual data on a battery, you just have one plugged in. So let's do that on the right hand side and see if we can kick off a charge. You know, I couldn't find any videos of anyone covering this stuff, like the wrong cable. Of somebody covering the app. There wasn't anybody covering the app. So let's run through this. Now, I've not used the app before, so you'll have to bear with me. Plugging in a battery, and it's a GNB 650 LiHV. So we'll go to this port B, and we'll select like this. Probably helps if I have that where you can see it. LiHV, 4 cells, balance, charge current 0.6 because it's a 650. Run it just under 1C. Discharge we don't need to worry about, and we'll set that one off. It's as easy as that. And then click start. Charger beeps, it's kicked in and it's charging. So we can now see this wonderful. This is a brand new battery. This came from Hobby RC as well. I'm getting all my stuff from them lately. Let's turn that off. Right, it's my other camera beeping. Sorry about that. So yeah, we can monitor and have a look and see what's going on with those ports and come back to them. It does mean that it locks out everything else in the software when you're running this though. So if I just stop them for now, because we'll do some battery analytics later, I'm sure it's highly interesting. But here we can look at things like protected time set to 240 minutes, and that's time to limit the protect battery. So there's a capacity limit. So if you're not running massive batteries or anything in parallel, you can set that to your maximum milliamp hours. Battery temperature limit, if you have the temperature sensor as to what you want to run these things at. If they're getting hot as 50 degrees, yeah, I wouldn't be charging it either. But there you go. Rest time between charge and discharge is set to 10 minutes if you are doing battery testing and so on. and the low DC input cutoff is set at 10 volts. Buzzer is on for the key buzzer and system buzzer. How annoying. And then you can send those to the device. There it comes up with a system setting. OK. Advanced option, battery type LiPo. You can set your individual voltage. Oh yes, as soon as you click one of these buttons, you get a warning. I can't show you, unfortunately, because it's off screen, but it says cut off above 4.2, risks overheating, fire or explosion. Continue, OK or cancel. So obviously, you know, it's giving you a good warning there. You can also set the differences for your LiHV or anything else. So if you've got a different battery pack that you want to assign into one of these and it runs a different voltage for whatever reason, you can do that. And now we'll just check the firmware version. New firmware available, click to upgrade. New version 3.02. So we're coming from 1.78, we're going to 3.02. You know, it's really good to see these companies updating firmware on these chargers. It's just good to see. So might as well do the live update of the firmware, show you how easy it is. And again, this is just the app running on a Windows computer plugged in via a USB-C cable. Nice and simple, into that little port on the back. Things I like about this already, the handle's nice, the build quality, it feels, you know, really super chunky. It's got a really high discharge rate considering the size of the heatsink inside, which I believe is up to 2 amps. If you plug in the external decharge unit, then you can get up to 40 amps discharge, which is crazy. There is a PD balance box you can plug into the front on one of the XT connectors, one of the XT60s. And then that gives you a bunch of different PD balanced USB-C outputs, which again is pretty cool as well. So how far are we through? 36%. The interface is not as intuitive, you know, when you consider this thing, the ToolkitRC, you know, one scroll wheel which clicks and a single button. I think they nailed the interface on that, I really do. This interface works. I guess up and down would be the same as left and right. Then you'd need another button for the click and then another button. Yeah, I mean it's fine. I'm just not used to it, so I'll be, you know, faffing around with that for a while. But you know, it works. It looks pretty smart. I don't know if it gets hot or anything. I can't really give you a review on it anymore outside of that because I've only had it for 5 minutes. But it's nice, unless you fancy jazzing it up with some wallpaper. Or some light artwork and felt pen, then you know the look is what you get. It looks like a generator. That's what it looks like with a handle. I don't know what I'm on about. Filling time until this hits 100%. So still upgrading. What else have we got? Time to protect the battery, and that's an interesting one, 240 minutes. I presume that's either relating to, this is where the manual will probably come in handy. Wherever that is. But this will either be an idle timeout from when it's finished charging, or a total time, and I'm not sure which that is. So, you know, I guess I'll just have to find out. Yeah, so I don't know whether this relates to the idle timeout from when it's finished charging or the total time from when it starts. I would have thought this would be the timeout in terms of when it's finished charging as to how long it can be in balance mode for, but yeah, I'd probably have to read the manual to find that out. Not much help, am I? Right, the update is done. We're now running 3.02, so we'll head back and have a look at the battery analyzer. This is where we can run tests, so we can actually run lithium high voltage, 4-cell, 2 amp current, cut off voltage at 13.6. We can run the graph in minutes, amp hours or watt hours, which is pretty cool. And then we can run that test and look at the live data depending on what's going on. For the battery analyzer to actually run, I believe we have to set up a new test, like so, and then select our ports. So we can append the test in here, or we can see what else is going on. The live data, it's started. Look at that, new test, it's just started. So which one's it taking? It is discharging A, the left-hand side. So here we're looking at the live data in terms of voltage, the amps it's drawing, the watts, milliamp hours that it's actually running, and that is the calculation in watt hours, and the time that it's running for as well. So you can have a look at all of this wonderful info to see how they do. And what I've got plugged in there at the moment is a single LiHV S4. So yeah, you can run your tests, which is pretty cool. For now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to port A. I'm going to select LiPo. I'm going to select balance at 2.5 amps because I've got 4 batteries on there, and hit go. And then for port B, I have a LiHV 4 cells balance charge, 650, so 1C 6 amp. That's okay, and hit start as well. And that's it. Right, let's get back to the final thoughts and close up, shall we? Anyway, that's it. A real quick, nice unboxing review to show again, once again, should I say, how much of an idiot I am. In this case, breaking my poor little ToolkitRC. But to be fair, if you have got one of these, don't update it to the latest firmware because it's horrible. It does this whole power saving thing where it beeps at you every 3 minutes, and the only way you can turn that off is by turning the beeps off. But if you turn the beeps off, then you don't get notifications that your batteries are done. All it does is just beep at you saying power me off, which is horrifically annoying. So don't update it. And if you've got version 1.06 or 1.07 of that firmware, please send it to me so when I get my screen back on here I can shut this thing up. Anyway, that's about it. My name's Johnny. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.